All right, my beautiful people, this is ERGJ, Certified Financial Educator, and I'm just here tonight on Blab, just giving back to my people live. So hopefully you get a lot out of tonight. I got a lot to say, and there's no title. Well, I guess there is a title. Don't be like the crowd because the crowd is broke. So we're going to be talking about a few things today that I hope will get you to think and change and do different. Because here's the deal, guys. I live in America. I don't know where you guys are. You guys are all over the world. But America is a country that's built on debt. Again, America is a country that is built on debt. So if you think about it, right, we'll say, hey, America is the wealthiest nation in the land. It is a country of abundant opportunity, right? The land of the free, the home of the brave. Well, here's the deal. Oh, wow, fantastic. Tom Ziegler, awesome. But here's the deal. It is a land of opportunity. It is a land of the free. All right. You can come here or you can live here. You can make out of your life whatever you want to make. But you need to understand the economy for which we live in. America is currently $20 trillion in debt. If they are in debt, then you got to ask yourself, who do they owe? Now, how in the world can you be $20 trillion in debt and then say that you're a land of abundance? You're a land of the wealthy. You're a wealthy land, but you are $20 trillion in debt. Does that make any sense? If you were in debt, would you say that you're wealthy? No. Doesn't make any sense. If you were in debt, would you say that you're free, financially free? No, it wouldn't make any sense. But yet we say in this country, we're $20 trillion in debt to who? But yet we say we're the land of abundant opportunity and wealth. Yes, individually, you can do this. And this is what we want to talk about tonight, because individually, yes, you can accomplish great things. You can be wealthy. You don't have to be a slave to your finances. But the crowd, if you follow the crowd, you'll be broke. So think about what does the crowd do? First, I wanted to talk about the Super Bowl, right? Because everybody gathered around the TV set, the boob tube, to watch the Super Bowl. There's nothing wrong with watching the Super Bowl. Have a good time. But why do we go watch the Super Bowl, right? Not just for the game. We go to watch the concert to see who's going to be, performing. Again, entertainment. And then we also go to watch the commercials. Now, isn't this interesting? I'm going to go watch TV and I'm going to be expecting to look at the commercials. What are commercials for? Commercials are to get me to go buy some more stuff, to get me to go more into debt. But yet I'm looking forward to putting my eyes in front of a commercial. Does that make any sense? This is what we do subconsciously, which continues to put us behind the eight ball, because we are voluntarily saying, here, have all of my money. Here, have all of my money. It's yours. It's not mine. I'm going to give it to you voluntarily. And this is what we do. So we're looking at these commercials, trying to rate which ones are the highest, and they're just racking in the dough, just waiting on you to go and buy some more stuff, because guess what? The commercials are there to get you to buy. But this is what millions of Americans were doing on Super Bowl Sunday night. Say, hey, don't even play no music. Don't play no cards while the commercials are on, because we want to watch the commercials. How idiotic can we be? We know what they're there for. We know why they do their advertising, to get people to buy more stuff. In other words, to get people to go more in debt, because that's initially what we're talking about. They want people to be in debt. Now, why does America want you to be in debt? So you can continue to fund the rich folks. See, the rich people, they're not in debt. The rich people are living off the debts of others. Let me repeat that again. I don't think I said that quite freely. The rich people, they're not in debt. The rich people are living off the debt of others. Who runs this country? Is it the government? No, it's not the government. Corporations run this company. Let me repeat that. Run this country. Let me repeat that again. It's not the government. Corporations run this country. If you don't believe that, then why did we bail out banks in 2000? Why? Why do we do that? Corporations run this country. That's why you can see somebody like Donald Trump running for president. Right? Whether he wins or not, I don't know. Banks, yes. Banks, corporations, they all tie together, because where do the corporations get their money? From the banks. Corporations, banks, big businesses, that's what runs this country. Now, here's the deal about the big businesses, right? Many big businesses, i.e., let's talk about Tesla. Tesla is a company that has yet to make any money, 11 quarters of loss, but yet they are, they're one of the largest corporations in the world right now. And then people will say, hey, well, you're in business. You're not supposed to make money for the first 3 to 5 years or 5 to 10 years. Let me ask you this. If you went into business today, would you be saying that, hey, I don't need to make any money or show any profit for 10 years? Because guess what? I can live off, I can leverage credit in order to build the business. Do you see what's going on here? So when we believe that for businesses, then guess what? They try to push that agenda to us as individuals. You can build your life on credit. How old were you when that message was presented to you? Were you in college? Were you in high school? How old were you when the message of you can build your life on credit was presented to you? So here's the deal, guys. What I'm trying to help us understand is that we got to change the way that we think. First, we got to know what's going on. And then we got to say, you know what? I'm going to do something different. It is very futile for us to believe that we can build our life on credit. What kind of sense does that make? I'm gonna go into debt. I'm going to create this massive hole for me that over the next 20, 30, 40 years of my life, I'm going to be crawling out of. And this is how America, this country, and I can't speak for all countries. I'm just going to talk about the country I'm in. This is how this country has brainwashed its people to believe that they can build their life. You can have a house you can have a house and a picket fence, but you can owe us $200,000 for the next 45 years of your life. This is how the agenda has been rolled out, and this is where we sit right now. Everybody going to school, getting your education. Yes, you should do that. But know that the agenda is for you to be a slave paying back student loans for the rest of your life. To who? To the banks, to the government, to big businesses. When you get that house, that mortgage, and you're going to be in that house for the next 30, 40 years, yes, it's a place for you to raise your family. And yes, it's great for you to do. But guess what you're doing? You're tying yourself to debt for the next 30, 40 years of your life. Who wants to die in debt? Anybody sign up for that? When you came to this earth that you had nothing, you knew you were taking nothing away, but then you're going to die owing something. What kind of sense does this make? I'm just saying, what I'm trying to do is help us to see this thing. Now, let's talk about where we are in our state, right? So America, our state, our country, we know it's $20 trillion in debt. Now, how did it get in debt so far? Well, we began to print money and just continue to print money without having it tied to any type of, just out of freaking thin air. Right. So we started, let me talk to you guys a little bit about money. We started with what's called commodity money, which means that I would exchange my gold or my silver for your product or service. It was a physical piece of gold, some dust, a plate, wherever I found it, or silver or copper or whatever. This is how we started our monetary system. Then they said, okay, well, having monetary system, having gold, having silver, that's not portable, right? It's too heavy for me to carry all of my gold in order to make a transaction. So they did what they call representative money. Representative money meant that, hey, instead of you carrying this gold and how much it weighed and how much it was worth, we're going to create this piece of paper or this certificate, a gold certificate or a silver certificate that's going to represent how much gold or silver that you own. And then you could transact and do business that way. Hey, I got a $5 silver certificate, which means that it's backed by the silver for which I own, or it's backed by the silver for which the government owns, or the gold that the government owns, or the Federal Reserve owns. Then somewhere in the infinite wisdom of our leaders, of our government leaders, they decided that, hey, you know what? We need to be able to have more money out there so we can have what they call economic growth. So they said, okay, well, we've moved on from the commodity money. We've moved on from representative money, and we're now into this age called fiat money, which means that it's no longer backed by gold or silver. It doesn't have a precious metal or a commodity attached to it. It's just a value out of confidence, out of faith, out of trust, out of some belief. So here's the question, guys. How much faith do you have in the government? How much belief and trust do you have in the government? Remember, this is the same government that's $20 trillion in debt. But yet we're on a monetary system that has no backing. It's just all based off of goodwill, faith, and trust. How much faith and trust do you have in the government? So when you're walking around and you're looking at this $20 bill or you're looking at this $10 bill, know that it doesn't have a true value to it other than what we believe it to be. And what we're saying is that I'm walking around with money that's owed to somebody else because the government who prints this money owes $20 trillion. Do you get it? This is why I'm telling you guys, you need to make getting out of debt your number one priority. Let me repeat that again. You need to make getting out of debt your number one priority. Because guess what? The government is made up of its people. So if the government is $20 trillion in debt, then that means that each and every citizen who has filed a claim and been part of the census is about $50,000 in debt, regardless of whether you got it or you don't. There's a price tag on your Social Security number. Do you not know that? There is a price tag on your Social Security number. You owe, even though you didn't make the bill. Getting out of debt has got to be your number one priority. Sometimes you just got to let it sit. Because some of us, right? Some of us are like, hey, I know I got all of this debt, whatever it is, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, whatever it is. And you might be looking at it overwhelmed, like, I can't get out of debt. Well, first, got to stop saying that. You got to say that I can get out of debt. You got to say that it's possible for me. You got to say, I'm going to get myself out of the mess that I created because the government can't do that for you. Don't look for a handout. Don't lean on them, the people who don't know how to manage money, in order to help you with yours. I'm not trying to yell, guys. I'm just a little passionate about this subject, so don't think I'm yelling at you. But don't lean on a system which hasn't learned how to manage its own money to help you with yours. You can't get rich by demand. You can't get rich by handouts. You got to find a way to make your own way. And so what I talk to people about, man, is that, hey, number one, we know the wealth formula is to earn more income and spend less, right? You got to earn more and spend less. The way that you earn more is not just by getting a second job. You're still tied to the system. One of the best ways you can start to earn more is to use your creative ability to come up with ideas that's going to solve more problems. There's plenty of problems in this world that you can go and solve. All you got to do is come up with a solution that you can scale or that you can provide, even if it's on a small level. That's how you get to multiple streams of income. You have multiple problems that you're solving, right? So when I'm in my space of financial literacy, I recognize that this space is vast. It's huge. And then guess what? There's not much competition. I don't have much competition. How many people you know are out here talking about financial literacy? Not many. How many people are educating the masses on financial literacy? Not many. There's some, but not many. But then if I look, I say, well, how many people are printing T-shirts? Everybody. How many people right now are saying, hey, come get your taxes done with me? Everybody. A lot of competition in that space. I came to a space where there is a wide moat, not much competition. That means there's endless possibilities. There's plenty of services that I can provide that's going to solve problems for people that I can get rich. And it's not about me getting rich. It's about helping more people understand you got to get out of debt. You have to. It is not even an idea anymore. It is an absolute priority that you get out of debt. That's cool, man. You're going to start, you said me soon, you're going to start doing some taxes or something. It's not against, I'm not talking against it. I'm just saying, start to look for places where the competition is low, right? Everybody has to get taxes. We understand that. So, hey, there's always going to be a demand for it. But the demand, because of the competition, your supply is high as well. Everybody has to get insurance, right? So if you got a car, you got to get insurance. So the demand is high because everyone has to get it. And health insurance, everyone has to get it. But the supply is high. Now, everyone needs financial literacy, right? But the supply is low. Why do you think I'm in this space? But I'm sharing that with you, not to impress you, but to impress upon you that there are areas that you are skilled at. That is that the demand is high and the supply is low, and you can fill that void. Does that make sense? I'm talking to you as if you are saying, hey, I want to earn income on a scale that is, I'm talking about an exponential scale, not just a little. You want a stream. You don't want a little trickle of a multiple stream. You want a stream. You don't want a little trickle. So you got to find a place where demand is high and the supply is low. Why do I say that? Because you don't want to be like the crowd, because the crowd is broke. If everybody else is doing it, find something else to do. You get what I'm saying? I mean, yes, you can do it if that's what you love. And you say, hey, I'm going to do it better than everybody else. What I'm telling you, though, is that your competition, the amount of your competition already dilutes your value. Let me repeat that again. The amount of your competition automatically dilutes your value. So at any rate, learn computer programming language, lots of demand, not a huge supply, fantastic. I'm just trying to share some ideas with you guys, and don't take everything I say. Do your own research, do what works for you. I'm doing what works for me. I'm doing business the way that it works for me, and I'm just trying to share with you guys, man. You got to understand where we are in this world, 2016 right now. We got to understand where we are in our monetary system in 2016 right now. Now, here's another thing. As we look at the monetary system for which we live in, we understand that over the past, I don't know, maybe I understand, maybe some of you guys understand, over the past 8 years, we have been in what they call a booming market. Booming stock market has been just appreciating. And we finally hit a turn, right? And what's causing this turn? Some things going on in China. We're about to have a change in our economic leader. The president's about to be, we're about to have a new president. We got things going on in oil, things going on in energy, all this stuff, right? But here's the deal, guys. If we understand what's coming, then why don't we prepare for the inevitable, right? If we can see what's coming, wouldn't it make sense for us to prepare for it? I mean, am I the only one that thinks that's kind of, logical? I see what's coming, and I'm going to prepare for it. Wouldn't you? Okay, I know I'm talking to myself. You guys are probably I'm probably talking faster than you can type. So here's the deal. So I talked to someone today. I do what they call a retirement review. I'll put that link in there in the bottom section here. And she called and said, hey, I want to, I'm taking a look at some things that are going on with my TSP, my IRA, and I want your advice, blah, blah, blah. And I helped her out and say, hey, let's take a look at what's going on in the market. We looked at the S&P 500 market is, starting to make a turn on the downward. Do we expect it to continue? Well, yes, I do. Why do I? Because again, we got volatility in the market. We got a change in our president, which causes fear. We don't know what the heck is going on in China. We don't know what the heck is going on with oil, other than that we have a huge supply that is overextending the demand, which is causing oil prices to lower. Then what does that do? Okay, well, people were buying electric cars because gas was going up. Gas is coming down. Will people continue to buy electric cars, or will they start back going to combustible cars like a little freaking Fusion or something like that? I don't know. But we've seen what happened when gas prices rise. Gas prices are going down right now. What is that causing? That's causing what they call deflation. Means that prices are going down. This doesn't happen very often. Now, why are prices going down? Because they're trying to recover. Right? They're trying to recover the system. The system itself, the Fed itself, they always want the system. They always want things to rise, the economy to grow. They always want it to grow. There's no time in our lifetime the Fed's going to be like, we don't want the economy to grow. And how they define economic growth is the stock market rising, because guess who's tied to the stock market? All of these big companies who control the United States. Do you get it? Does that make sense? Everybody got that? So here's the deal. So we see that it's making a turn, right? We see that it's making a turn. So the question is, if I see all of this turmoil, if I see all of this fear, if I see all of this volatility that's going on in the market and my money is tied to it, your retirement funds are tied to this. Now, many of you guys, you don't watch your retirement accounts. Many of you guys, you don't even know your password to your retirement accounts. But you got your money tied to this system that is going in a different direction than it's been going in the past 8 years. So here's my question. What are you going to do about it? I'm gonna let that sit right there. What are you gonna do about it? I told her what to do about it. I gave her some advice, but what are you going to do about your money that's sit here tied to this system that's been booming over the past 8 years? You probably got a great, nice return in your 401k, but now we're starting to see things take a turn. What are you going to do about it? Now, you may say, hey, I'm going to pull my money out, but no, that's probably not, are you going to take your money out? You're going to pay taxes on it? You're going to pay the penalty on it? That's not a great option. What are you going to do about it? Let me open up these seats because maybe somebody got something to say. I'm going to leave that question right there for a little bit because we got people that's tuning in. We got some smart people that know what to do with their money. We got people that say, hey, pray with some people that ain't even looked at their money. They don't even know what I'm talking about right now. They just got money in the system they ain't even looked at. Have you even taken a look at your retirement accounts this year? It's January. You should look at it every year, at least every 6 months, but at least every year. Have you even taken a look at it? Have you made some adjustments? Or is your plan hope? Are you just hoping that you're going to retire rich? Right? And it's okay if you haven't made any adjustments. I'm just saying, have you even looked at it? And not just looking at your retirement accounts, have you even looked at the market for which your accounts are tied to see where you can make some adjustments? See, this is what they're not teaching you. They're saying, hey, put your money here and it's going to grow. But not telling you that it's tied to the stock market, that you can actually watch the market and see what's going on with the trends and you can make some adjustments yourself. So guess what? You pay someone else to watch it and you hope that they make the right decisions. Now, there's nothing wrong with paying someone to do it. But what I'm saying is at least have some input, at least have some knowledge as it relates to your very own money. So that if they do make a decision that you disagree with, then you can let them know, hey, that's not what I want to do with my money. Not, hey, you're the expert, and they can be an expert at losing your money. That's the deal. And guess what? If your 401k turns into a 40k, you have no one to blame but yourself. You can't blame them because they don't take any risk with your money. They're not at risk at all. All they're doing is making some recommendations for your money. And you're not paying attention to your very own money, but we want to retire rich. Does that make any sense? Any sense? So you want to be content and happy, no adjustments, that's fine. You say, how do they, so what's your question? Who is that? New Image Tech. Why do I know your first? I know your name. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank today. Carl. Yeah, Carl. Carl, so Zoe, you can jump in. Carl, so you asked, how do they track what? How do they track the market? I don't know what your question was. You said, how do they track that? So, or you was talking to somebody else. Opium. Oh, yeah, you're having another conversation. All right, so you want to, I'm not telling you that you got to be all heavily into the stock market. That's not what I'm telling you at all. What I'm saying is be aware, right? Be aware. So we are, I'm telling you, I'm giving you some advice right now. See, I normally I would charge to teach, right? But I'm gonna teach for free, but I'm gonna charge for consultation. So understand what's going on in the market. At least take a look at it. At least do some analysis and say, what is going on here? And then look at it and then make some adjustments for yourself and see what's going on. I mean, this is what you have to do. It's your money. Don't you care about your money? No one should care more about your money than you, right? So take a look at the market, see what's going on, see what you are invested in, see if it makes sense for you to still be invested in those places. Think about, okay, well, what is going to happen in the future? We don't know who's going to be the next president. We don't know what policies that they are going to adopt. So you got to ask yourself, what's the best place for me to be right now as it relates to my retirement accounts, as it relates to what is available to me, because everyone has different availability. If you go to every company, every investment firm, they all offer different things. So that's why it's got to be a one-on-one consultation to really say what's available to you and what's the best options for you. But you can, if you want to do it yourself, but do something. Don't sit here and just hope that everything's going to work well. Hope is not a strategy. And when it comes to money, hope ain't going to get it done. It's a start, but it's not going to get it done because we're dealing with crooks. We're dealing with, think about this, man. We just had the whole economic thing that happened. I don't know if you guys watched this movie called Inside Job, but we got people that basically were coordinating the collapse of the economic system, and they still have jobs. Matter of fact, they're still running our country. These same people who, you know what I'm saying? Think about this, man. These people don't get fired, they get promoted. Right? We just have this issue going on in Flint, Michigan. You think he gonna get fired? If that was us, we'd be fired. If we did a bad job, we'd be fired. These people get promoted. They get promoted to the Secretary of Treasury. They get promoted to the big banks that come up. This is what happens. Yes, they are wise. They got a lot of knowledge, but they get promoted. They hardly ever get jailed. Hardly ever. Hardly ever. So it's crazy that we can sit here and allow, as a country, we can allow people to make these big mistakes and they keep their job. But an average American like me or you, we make a big mistake at our company, at Coca-Cola or Pepsi or wherever, Google, wherever may work. Guess what? We make a big mistake. We're not getting promoted. We're getting fired. It's not, this is what happens. It's not an even playing field as it relates to the amount of money that you make. The more money that you make, the more leeway that you get. Why? Because the people who make the most money, they are the ones who run this country. Think about it, man. The person who has no money has no shot to be the president, right? Even though we're supposed to be able to just write in the ballot or whatever the case may be, the reality is if you don't have money to get through the promotional phase of popularity, you have no shot at being the president. You could be the best president ever, but you have no shot if you have no money. That's how this system is set up. So I really want you guys to really understand that we are doing on a turn in the market right now, and you need to prepare your retirement accounts for it. If you don't know what to do, if you don't know what to look for, guess what? I'm available. So I'm gonna put this link down here at the bottom here. The first consultation is free, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. You can make an investment to save and preserve your money, or you can lose it all. It's your choice. It's your money. But don't say that you weren't warned. Don't say that nobody had this conversation with you for free so you can start taking a look at your very own money that you worked hard for. You worked hard for this money. Now, what am I going to talk about now? Talked about Super Bowl. All right, yeah, so we talked about the market. So we understand that this country, that this system is set up on credit. And you got to ask yourself, do I want to be the type of person that builds my life on credit? Now, you might already have built your life on credit. Then you got to ask yourself, am I going to be the person that's going to teach my children to build their life on credit? Am I going to voluntarily allow my children to be slaves to the lender? Voluntarily. Now, here's the deal. We'll say, oh, you got to have, you got to get debt in order to get a house. That's not true. You got to get a debt in order to get a house if you're not willing to wait. You got to get debt if you want to go to school. That's not true. Ask the Asians. They come over here and they work their tail off in order to walk out of school debt free. Why can't we? Because we're not willing to put in the work. And we got to have the party time. We got to entertain ourselves. We got to blow our school money, our loan money on paying bills or whatever the case may be. So the reality is it's not true. It's just what we have believed to become true, that we must go into $100,000 in debt in order to get this piece of paper that won't even necessarily solidify that I can get the job that for which this paper says that I'm qualified to get. How many people you know are $80,000 in debt and don't have an $80,000 a year job? It makes no sense. Do you see? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm taking things out of proportion. I'm just talking off the side of my head. I don't know what I'm talking about here. I'm a certified financial educator, but I don't teach people, things about money. That's not what I do. I don't know. What's up, Zoe?
Hey, what's going on, man? How's everybody doing this evening?
I'm on 10, man. So at any rate, guys, so think about this, right? So what I'm trying to do is I say this all again. Wealth begins in the mind. Until we begin to change the way that we think about money, until we begin to learn and understand how wealthy people operate in this capitalistic society. Now, what does that mean? They want to capitalize. Well, who are they capitalizing on? They're capitalizing on the ignorance of the masses. I'll repeat that again. And I'm not calling you ignorant. Ignorant just means that you're not educated. But I'm saying this is a capitalistic society, and the rich, they capitalize on who? On the ignorance of the masses. The masses that's going to sit there in front of the TV for 2 hours to watch commercials, to judge a commercial, and then be influenced to go and consume and buy more stuff. The masses. Don't be like the crowd, because the crowd is broke. Zo, man, what you got to say, man?
Yeah, man. Hey, like it's basically it's crazy, capitalism. If you don't understand it, you lose each time. I mean, in order to play the sport, you got to train hard and know what's going on. If you want to win, you just can't go out there and expect to just know everything, or just play it because you got talent. But as long as you go in and learn what the rich do, learn what the wealthy do, change your mindset, hey, you get to that level as well.
Yeah, man. And so, there's some things that we're doing. We're going out, we're teaching the kids, trying to get them to recondition at an early age. And I just put a quote up. I think it's prudent that I write this. I read this quote, or this from The Millionaire Next Door. So here's the question, guys. Who taught you that you had to wait every 2 weeks for someone to cut you a check in exchange for your gifts and talents? Who taught you that you had to wait 2 weeks for someone to cut you a check in exchange for your gifts and talents? Do you think that the wealthy people wait 2 weeks to get a check for their gifts and talents? Wealthy people don't think like that.
Not at all.
Right? So we have all been programmed as children in regards to money based upon what we saw, heard, or experienced between the ages of 2 and 7 is when we were the most suggestible. This is why we have Kid Vest, in order to teach the kids early what we learn late and what some of us haven't learned at all. If you're not where you would like to be financially, you're going to have to take a step back and understand how your childhood has formed your limiting beliefs about and created your money blocks. You're going to have to create new beliefs about money and release many emotional baggage around money. Now, here's the deal. Many people believe that, and someone asked, I was in an interview the other day, and he asked me about, the condition of blacks and wealth and where we are. And here's what I told him. I said, my belief is that we have been conditioned to believe that the only way that we can create wealth is on our backs. In other words, that there must be labor involved in order for me to create wealth. But we understand, well, I don't want to say we understand, but we teach kids about the three different types of income as recorded by the IRS. And many of us, and whether you're black, white, or whoever, wherever you are in your economic standpoint, many of Americans, period, who are living, 70% of them are living paycheck to paycheck. The reason why they're living a paycheck to paycheck, because they're on the one side of that equation, which is earned income, which means that I trade my time for money. So when I run out of time, I run out of money. When I get off the clock, my checks stop coming in. As a matter of fact, I would say not only are the regular average Americans living that way, many of the people who make millions of dollars are living paycheck to paycheck. Guess what? When they retire broke because they overexerted themselves. They overspent. They lived their life off credit instead of what they actually earned. Let me repeat that again. I know millionaires who are living paycheck to paycheck. We've seen them time and time again. 2 years after they retire, they're broke or filing bankrupt or whatever the case, whatever you want to say. Why? Because they've been conditioned to live their life on credit. You got $20 million, but you're buying a $100 million home. Why not just buy a $5 million home? No, that don't work. I got to get a $100 million home. I got to get a mansion. I got to get a private plane, yet I don't have the income to support. Now, what do I mean by you don't have the income to support? Well, yes, you can get it as long as you make payments, but if you have to make payments, that means you can't afford it. Let me repeat that again. Yes, you can get it, and it means that you can make payments, but if you have to make payments on it, that means that you can't afford it. Now, you got $20 million. Why not just get something paid in cash and call it a day? But no, we have been conditioned to live our life on credit. We've been conditioned to think that we can be a Tesla, that we can just get credit and get credit and get credit, and it's going to cause us to grow and grow and grow. That's how we think about when it comes to our education. That's how we think when it comes to our home. That's how we think when it comes to our car. That is how we've been conditioned to think. Now, hopefully, there's some people here that's saying, "Hey, I'm doing some reprogramming." So then I got to ask you, what are you feeding your mind? Did you feed your mind on Sunday night with commercial after commercial after commercial after commercial? And if you did, you got to ask yourself, is that leading me towards wealth? Or is that leading me towards earning more and spending less? Or is that leading me towards the opposite, spending more? How many people you know want to be out of debt but won't read anything financial? They won't listen to anybody talk to them about money, but they keep talking about how they complaining about being in debt. They're complaining about the bills. They're complaining about their money issues, but they're doing nothing. Nothing, not one iota of doing anything different. Than what has caused them to be in the situation.
Oh yeah, today, and we kind of still say it too, because I said to my kids, "Do as I say, not as I do." If parents have been broke all their life and you've seen them struggle, yet we still go down the same path that they've gone because that's what we've been taught. Some people are visual seers, so they see mom, dad had a job all their life, so that's what I need to do, even though we haven't been taught, to do things a little differently. But do as I say, meaning, not necessarily just go out there and just get good grades and get a good job, but do things a little differently. Don't do it just because I did it, just because I wanted something, I got a big house and so forth, and can't afford it. Doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go out and, get a big house and can't afford it as well. Go get a small house first and then, work your way up. Go get some assets and do some things a little different. Go, build the library, build the business and so forth. Do something a little different than I did. And then you can change. Oh yeah, not at all. No, nope. It's always been a closed book. Well, yeah. Yeah, that's one thing we're oh yeah, that's one thing we've actually trying to been implementing as well on our side of teaching, our younger generation and the kids that I come across, because everybody see that material thing of wanting it now and trying to impress the other person and so forth, but not understanding what that other individual has gone through to get it, if that individual is in debt, or if that individual is actually, bought it outright. But just because, you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, some people hurt themselves. And, some things that I try to tell my kids is just because your friend is going to jump off a building doesn't necessarily mean you got to go jump off too. If they're going to go in debt, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go and get in debt too. You have to understand personal finance. You have to understand business finance. So if you're going to go work for someone and they say, well, it's not in the budget, well, you got to understand it's business. So for me and me growing up, we didn't have, I didn't get to see that business aspect of things. I always seen, a woman, my mother just go work and work hard for us. So once I grew up, that's what I knew. So I knew I needed to go, work, get a good job, get more than one job and so forth. And it was to the point where, my wife had to tell me, hey, you need to take vacations. Because for me, my parents, my mother, she never really took vacation. Only when I was younger. But then as I got older, we never went on vacation. So now I make that a part of life for my kids to say, hey, we go on more and more and more vacations because I didn't experience that life. Hey, when she was my girlfriend at the time, she said, hey, she said, ooh. And we still don't. Oh yeah. Yep. And I'm not giving you the interest that I made off of it. So
What you into, man? Doing well, doing well. Well, my story was simply I was raised to not spend more than you had and don't put a lot on credit. And I turned around and did that the same thing with my children and made sure that they had checking accounts when they all turned 12 as their rite of passage. Started them out with a little bit of money And any dream that they have, we have a rule in my home: I will finance half your dream, but you're going to have skin in the game for your half. Should you decide not to play that guitar or not to do that thing that I helped you with, you owe me for your half. And it's amazing how people perform when they have to put skin in the game. That's exactly what happened to our nation when you could start getting everything with no money down. Nobody had skin in the game. So when they got tired of it, they just abandoned it. And I knew that was coming. And the Bible speaks more about money than it does really any other subject. And the only reason money was created in the first place is really it's a spiritual measuring tool. That's really all it is. Find out what people do with their money, you'll figure out who they are. Yeah. I've got to go. I'm going to be listening, though. I'll talk to you soon. All right.
All right.
Hi. Everything's good. How are you? Well, really, growing up, I learned a lot of
Ah,
the those mistakes, but it didn't take too many bumps for me to realize, okay, this isn't responsible or this isn't the thing to do. And so now, um, so, I definitely try to keep in mind whether I'm shopping out of emotion or if I really need whatever it is that I'm shopping for. But I've definitely become a lot more conscious in, how I spend my money. And of course, getting my retirement review with you, that helped me to really get an understanding of, what was happening with my retirement account. Because of course you had the opportunity to show me some things about it that I didn't know, and how some things were happening that I just really had no clue about. So I'm really grateful for that. And I've actually, over the past year, watched it grow more than it had been previously. So if you have not gotten a retirement review, I highly recommend it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm grateful to be able to have people like you who are willing to share the knowledge that you have. And, it's a blessing.
true. Exactly. Yeah, man, I got it. I got it. I'm coming. I'm gonna do right. Just keep letting me know. You ain't tell me good. You ain't tell me. You ain't keep. Telling me. You got to keep telling me. I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm gonna keep trying. And hey, they say doing the same thing over and over, man. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's it was an interesting conversation we had today around our little lunch round table. And if you ever pay attention to all of the advertising, food products wise, all of the food products that's advertised to us is basically unhealthy. Yet we go out and eat and eat and eat from the fast food restaurants like it's no tomorrow. And then we wonder why we're in, we don't have any funds, even though it's cheap to eat that way, but it's costly in the long run because of health issues. And then also the other conversation was, well, you have a 401k, you have a retirement plan, but you don't look and see what's going on with it. But you look at your checking account every day, but it's still your money. So why aren't you still doing the same thing with your retirement account? If you're not trying to lose money in your checking account, then you sure shouldn't be losing money in your retirement account. And some people don't have that emotional feeling once they lose it. They be like, well, oh man, I lost $2,000. I guess I'll gain it back.
Right.
You tell me.
Mm.
Hey,
Hello, it's Dr. Corey. How you doing? I like the subject of your show today, Mr. Evan. Am I saying it right? And I like your panel too. Handsome, beautiful, and well qualified. Well, I'm a researcher and a business consultant and coach, and this subject of today, don't be like the crowd, has been a big issue within the psychology and motivational circle. Um, if I may make a comment, one of the things that rings the bell for me is that we are part of the crowd, and we are one of the members of the crowd in our society, and we are connected one way or another to that legal system, ethical platforms that we all work in, and moral issues that goes into this basically environment. So my question is that, in your opinion, how can we be part of the crowd but not be of that crowd? Mhm. 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 Yes, absolutely. This guy has a lot of cash, of course. He doesn't have to worry about it, I guess. There. But you know, the the thing is that, you know, what I do within my consulting platform, I encompass the moral, ethical, and legal issues, or personal, professional, and political issues uh, that happens within the, you know, crowd that we are in. The whole issue remains is that how do we start with this balance or integrity that you know, we have to at least start to take a step within our own life, personally, individually, so we could bring such a attitude or physical pragmatic place into this broken crowd. So I mean, expectation, like for example, for many years when I was younger, of course, you know, many blame goes into, you know, the crowd is this and that, but not knowing, because I wasn't educated as much, or maybe even the realization wasn't up to par, because of course, you know, you need to go through some failures in order to be able to realize or learn from the mistakes usually. The whole point of the matter is that a crowd is broken because of people not taking responsibility. Mhm. 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 Yeah, yeah, I'm 100% for the money, but the people, for example, when they have some sort of insecurities, some kind of um, you know, things that are happening because of some sort of addiction in their life, you know, want to keep up with the Joneses, like they say. There is a lot of stuff are happening in our society that cannot be fixed one way or another and we got to become an immune system, I should say, as an individual to this flawed crowd that we feel like, we have no control over these bozos in the, whether it's in investment places like Wall Street or government system and whatnot. We are the ones making our financial system, political system, academic system. We have to take 100% responsibility, no matter how much it takes. But we are only on a collaborative system, is orchestrated system, and the harmony is not going to happen unless we take leadership as individuals and become the immune system of this society. Mhm. 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 Yeah, yeah. You can call me Dr. Corey for short. Mr. Evan, the thing is that we have to be careful about too much control too. Just for example, what we are doing harm to our bees, that make honey in our natural environment. We have passed around so much poison on our trees and flowers and all that kind of stuff that we're killing the bees with it. So, but if we figure out nutritious ways that our bees could get their nutrition, and at the same times the flies would go and sit on, crap that they need to, then we will have that well balanced, harmonical kind of a society in place. But we cannot go, in other words, forward to break it up. We cannot discord from it, because everything counts. Everything is in this orchestration happening. So the only thing that can be a little bit more of a, I would say, with a little bit of a more balanced wisdom act, maybe would be that we start to see how we can bring our life in that integrative way, that our financial, our physical health, our financial health, and our mental health are all in place at the same time in that collaborative consciousness. I mean,
Nice. Now go ahead, Dave.
yeah. Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, in business, oh, well, because I have my background in psychology and business and law. I've been sort of a consultant educator type of person, and always researching for better ways of doing things. Now the schools are broken, for example, because it's not matching with what's happening in the economy. That is, they're they're putting kids into taking loans without any way to be able to pay back, because what they find is that MBAs used to make six-figure income. Now MBAs have to go get a minimum wage job. It 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 doesn't match up. But we cannot wait for academics now to wake us up. We got to persevere to go to places that not just arithmetic would have the answer. I know some people that are not so good in math or economics, but they know how to sell, they know how to manage their budget, and because they're balanced people. So commitment is that you mentioned is I agree with you, is a decision, but lifestyle is the most important part. And lifestyle means balanced diet, balanced budget, balance, help to others. I mean, I've been in helping profession, but I resigned because I got exhausted helping people that they did not want to help themselves. So in a bigger plate now, I'm helping the society in that leadership kind of stance that they don't teach in school. They teach in school for people to become only one aspect of leadership. That means go become a boss, or go become a president if you can, or go open up a business or have a job. There is more to it than these things. Leadership is responsibility, and being a moral, ethical, and a legal man. Uh, with a capital M, that means includes women. I mean, I'm saying man or women, with a capital letter. So uh, that's the only way that we can at this point in time, that you mentioned, crowd is broke, is a very pragmatic way to put it. Because, for example, I don't know if you have heard of what's going on in Wall Street, our real estate, our budget, our global uh, economy breakdown. Economy breakdown will not happen if we individually take responsibility to listen to our hearts and innovate and create, and be just have leadership in our own little life, if you will. And then with that orchestration, with that collaboration, with that showing by example, we're going to have
not only America, we can have something that would be in this global economy, would surprise everybody, and including ourselves. Yeah, I do get it. You so I just like to say, for example, during our past history, for example, Martin Luther King said he has a dream, and his dream was beyond expectations of what was going on at the time. So if we want the dream to come true for us at this point in time, we have to go beyond what we see in front of our face, with the global breakdown, with the economy, with the environment, with our children, with our academics, all that stuff. We cannot just vote and wait till somebody fixes it in the future at some point in time.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, ERG. Evan, I'll just call you Evan. Good evening, man. Yeah, so how you doing, Dr. Corey?
Good, Mr. Robert. Good to see you.
This is the first time I've seen you. You're not walking and talking, man. So good to see you sitting down.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, just had to chime in, Evan. I thank you for letting me come in. And I know I was kind of late, but once again, man, excellent topic. I think that's a major issue with all of us trying to aspire to some type of level as a result of what we're seeing, and not just doing the fundamental things. You had a post on Facebook, man, talking about the things that you didn't learn in school. I almost fell out of my chair. But it's just, there's especially here in America, and I can only speak about America because that's where I live, but it's a constant chasing for physical material things that supposedly put you on some type of level, only to find yourself in a ton of debt, like servitude, behind the scenes. So you're putting on a facade for people, trying to be like everybody else. And the folks that really have money that are pitching these things, a lot of times they don't even use the stuff that you're trying to get. You know what I mean? So I was like, let me get in the seat, man. Evan's got another hot topic this evening.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Nothing. I'm sorry. That was bleak. I apologize. Right. Right.
Mr. Evan, the thing is that if we teach our kids that their worth is by how much money they have collected or what they're worth, then they gonna do whatever to go after the money, like a carrot in front of the horse. We have to teach kids that they got more in there, more than the money can count, or what they have to go after the money. The money is that, I mean, whoever has the print shop gonna print the money. I mean, that's government does that all the time. But what we need to do is to not only acknowledge that within ourselves, but we got to teach our kids that, you know what,
Babe, I can't get off of
you got more than what we
There-
have any concept of what the money is all about. In other
there's
words,
a
kids
way.
of future have to go innovate more
You gotta
beyond
find a
Steve
little small
Jobs and
exit.
Zuckerbergs. I mean, this is a whole different state of mind of the next generation millennials. And if they're gonna just do minimum wage to pay the rent and pay the bills, then they're not gonna have time to even think about innovating and creating. Mhm. Mm. But yeah, but as you mentioned, fiat money does not have any value. We we have to learn. We have to learn what we can do with the money in such a strategic, creative ways, and kids have to come up with those kind of like in that kind of like a consciousness, or that kind of aligning their mind, body, and spirit in such ways that they can go beyond the fastness of what fiat money value is changing all the time. As I mean, we can create, or we can borrow, or we can bring people who are people of money, but we have to be in the creative side. We have to be the leader.
I tell you, just to be specific, I have a 13-year-old right now, 20-year-old just kind of leaving the home, but he's still here. We're still grooming, right? But this is what I teach, and it's a great question. First of all, it's about people, the appreciation of people. That's where the real currency is, right? You have to learn how to understand that, because irregardless of the medium exchange, be it fiat, gold, silver, things of that nature. And I didn't know you guys were getting that deep in it. That's another conversation. But what I'm teaching, like my daughter, especially young ladies, because I just had a conversation with her the other day. They want to compare themselves to other people. First thing you have to realize is I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And I'm the only one here that got what I got. So I tell her that all the time. And then I try to put her in an environment and encourage her hey, you're the only one that's got what God put you here to put, the brain. So I need you to make that come to fruition. And so I try to create an environment to encourage them to want to maximize what they don't even know that's inside them. Me as her dad, right? I'm encouraging all the time, seeing stuff that she can't even see right now. And I don't necessarily know what it is, but I know she got something. But that comes from an appreciation of people. People is the currency. People are the currency. Like I think that's what Dr. Corey is saying. So that's the one thing that I always try to teach my son and my daughter, because once the money is gone, if I got my relationship, if my word is good, if I know some skills and things of that nature, I'm always going to be taken care of, because it's always about us.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and just to
That's good.
piggyback on that matrix idea and so forth, we, like you stated before, when kids are born, we teach them fear. You know, when we were kids, we had no fear at all. So we did what we wanted to do, how we wanted to do it, and then parents told us, no, don't do it that way. And then we're basically going through that talk process of saying you should do it this way. Even if it's the right way or the wrong way, it's the way that they know of. And when we, venture off that path, some people say, well, we have, the different mentality, or you crazy, or you shouldn't do it this way, blah, blah, blah. Even though your way now might be the right way. So with my kids, I try to teach them to think outside the box, have your own mind, be free thinkers. Don't let anybody, cloud your judgment, because God gave you a mind. Use it. You can think for yourself. You don't have to have anyone to think for you. So you have to make those decisions. So even though you make those decisions, sometimes those decisions may have consequences. So you learn from your actions, you learn from your mistakes. And some mistakes are good. So if you have a business and you want to start one and you fail the first time, then just learn from it. Learn what you did and then go start another one. Because there's no way in the tax code that said you can't have more than, you can only have one business. So just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and try.
It's good.
Dr. Corey?
Yeah, I like what these guys. I worked as a social worker more than 10 years for Child Protective Services, and I've been. I don't have a kids of my own, but my wife has kids, and so on and so forth. But I contributed what I could, and I mean, this education field for kids, adults, elders, I mean, whatever it takes. The situation is that we are in this one global entity that, past, future, now is all, happens, back and forth. And what I'm trying to say is that at any time, people say, for example, we have created, the economy is jam-packed and there is no hope for any more than where we are, and it's a gleam kind of a world, and we need a second coming. All kinds of things, whatever it takes. But the thing is that, any spark that can, put a needle into this bubble that we created, that, like has no other magic to it, in a sense, has to, we have to blow that hot, or this pollution out, and put a fresh air into it. We need a new mind, new hearts, and new actions at all times. Like, I love what ANL says. I don't know your name, but that's what it says over there. But, learn from your mistake. And I have a quote on my refrigerator that says, make new mistakes all the time.
Absolutely.
And that's, I do cook, and I know that, when you want to make a food better and better, you got to come up with better and better recipes. Something that is not in the laboratories, something that is not in the, our same kind of military, same kind of academic, same kind of system. It's nothing that can be measured. If you can come up with a recipe, a formula like that Einstein created, it can change the whole vision of the whole world. We got to go beyond our little shaved head. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is beyond our little, kind of misconceptions that we have created so far. And for this humanity to take the next level of consciousness, go to where, no maybe financial leaders have thought of, it starts from us, it starts from our kids, it can come from elders, it can come from anywhere. And if it wasn't because of Steve Jobs, we wouldn't have, we still have the Captain Kirk's flip phone, okay?
we wouldn't be blabbing, right?
we wouldn't go beyond Captain Kirk with his
Captain Kirk is famous. Hey, so here's the deal, guys, man. I really want to thank
Captain Kirk's flip phone is already old. It's too old already.
Yeah.
Hey, so I just want to kind of thank everybody for coming on, man. You guys been.
But thank you. Have a good day.
Make sure
nice
that
to see you all.
No problem. Make sure that you tag or you follow everybody that's been in the seats, man. Got wonderful things to say. And here's the deal. Here's what I say. I'll end on this, man. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing the first thought that I have is, how can I change the world? And before I go to bed at night, I ask myself, did I change the world today?
That's good.
Now, of course, your world is the world that you are connected to, but everything that you do today, it has an impact on the greater world itself. And you just don't know how big. You just don't know how big this conversation is that we're having today and who it's going to impact. They may not have been here live, but they may watch it in the future, and it changes their life. It changes their mind. It changes their thoughts. It changes how they raise their children. It changes the kids' life. I ask myself every day, how can I change the world? And then I evaluate my progress at night by saying, did I change the world today? Why am I telling you this? Because I want you to be a person, a man or a woman, that's going to change the world. I want you to be a pinky and the brain, because they work together. That's what I want you to do. I want you to strive for that. If you start thinking bigger, you start finding bigger problems to solve, you start finding more people to serve, then inherently your income will grow. And repeat that again. If you start thinking bigger, you start finding bigger problems to solve, you start serving more people, then inherently your income will grow. And this is what the rich people do. The rich people solve problems that the masses buy. They solve problems, so we buy the solution. Blab is a solution, right? Headphones are a solution, right? The computer is a solution. Mm-hmm. So what are you willing to solve? And you could be solving a problem that people don't even know that they have. Again, you could be solving a problem that people don't even realize that they have. Good. So I'm just sharing that with you guys because I believe we got some people here today, and I believe that we attract who we become. So whoever I've attracted, whoever Mr. Lewis has attracted, whoever Zoe has attracted to this time that we've had together, I believe that you are a world changer. But I believe that if you just shift to your thinking to, okay, how can I change the world? And then you also think about, did you change the world today? And if you do that each and every day, you're going to see that your world itself has changed. And then as your world changed, then the bigger world will change as well. I'm going to leave a link in the bottom below because we talked a lot about money. And so if you don't know or you need some help with what's going on with your money, with your retirement accounts, as we start to move into the end of an era, the Obama era, then you might need some help. You might need some advice. You might need a counsel as relates to your money. And here's how I can tell you. Here's what I know. If you are a person that doesn't know the password to your 401k, then you need some help.
Yeah, you need some help. Call ERGJ. I'm gonna be like him one day. Call him.
Hey, so Mr. Lewis, any last words for the peeps?
No, sir. I just once again listen to this gentleman. He is he's not just talking about it. I'm noticing he's about it. I'm talking about Evan, and he has a post on this topic as far as finance and helping people grow. I can say that for myself. I'm getting up in the morning watching them. So that's what I want to say. If you're not following them, follow him, because I really believe he has a heart to help, and he's just not on here blabbing.
Zoe, man, any last word for the peeps? You blabbing.
Hey, we just want to thank everybody for coming out, again and listening to us and so forth. And as y'all see, I got the noise in the background, trying to put him to bed. But hey, it takes a village. It takes a village. So let's build, man. So wealth begins in the mind, man. It takes I'm sorry, you messing me up. Wealth begins in the mind, man. Let's build as we climb together, because it truly does take a village. You guys have a good night.